They were laughing. Children, all of them. Human, alien, hybrid. Laughter filled the halls of the New Dawn Orphanage on Terralease. For a garden world seeded and nurtured by Earth's own terraforming core. The orphanage stood not just as a shelter, but as a testament to Earth's belief in second chances, in compassion, in hope. It was neutral ground, recognized by the Galactic Council itself. A sanctuary. The children didn't know politics. They knew picture books, game modules, and the promise that no matter how broken the galaxy was, this place was different, safer, better. That lies shattered at 0412 hours Galactic Standard. Orbital sensors barely had time to register the anomaly before kinetic strikes obliterated them. No demand, no warning, no declaration. Just impact. First the satellites, then the shields, then the buildings, and then silence. 33 caretakers. 122 children. Human, Alari, Creel, even a few Torch hatchlings. Not one survived. The final image transmitted from a subterranean maintenance drone captured only rubble. And above it all, a single scorched sigil. The Zeraki Dominion. The message left behind was short. This is what Earth's charity creates. Weakness, chaos, death. We clean it. It reached Earth's diplomatic center within minutes. Encrypted channels burned red. The Security Council met in silence. No dramatics. No panic. The footage spoke louder than outrage ever could. Across Earth's datasphere, news outlets held a unified blackout for 6 hours, only broken by a statement from the United Terran government. We acknowledge the loss. Investigation ongoing. We request patience. But Earth was not patient. Behind the curtain, Terran Intelligence Division Omega identified the strike trajectory, fusion decay signatures, and drive flare anomalies. Within 10 hours, the origin systems were confirmed. Zeraki fleets, deep-range Hunter-class warships. No lawful presence within that quadrant. They bypassed Council control zones by going through a dark sector. Illicit, deliberate. Within 24 hours, the identities of the fleet commanders were known. Family registries tagged. Economic data mapped. The Dominion's military and industrial branches dissected with surgical precision. And yet, Earth said nothing. At the Council, the debate began. Some called for restraint. Others offered apologies. A few blamed Earth outright. Perhaps if Earth didn't export its values into every star system, the Zeraki wouldn't feel provoked, said Ambassador Therrell of the Drenari Union. Humans in the chamber didn't respond. They didn't walk out. They just sat. 2 days later, an unmarked Terran vessel docked at Station Apex 7. The captain, unlisted in any public registry, delivered a simple envelope to the Central Archive. It contained 2 names. The first, the Zeraki High Executor. The second, the star system of Harkin's Grave, the Zeraki Dominion's primary military command center. Within 2 hours, all human diplomatic personnel across the sector were recalled. The Council panicked. 3 allied species attempted to block Earth's fleet deployment via bureaucratic entanglements. The paperwork was ignored. Port authorities received override commands from Earth's Mars command node. Human ships began disappearing from known traffic channels. Not decommissioned, redirected. On Luna, the Titan stirred. Classified under Silent Doctrine Omega-level retaliation protocols, Earth's most devastating fleet group, designated Silencer Division, was activated. 54 ships. No crew larger than 4 per vessel. Each ship run by hybrid AI quantum cognition matrices capable of full autonomous tactical operations. Designed not to fight wars, but to end them. The Zeraki media declared it all bluff. Humans grieve with sentiment, not action, one newscaster proclaimed. They are children wearing soldiers' armor. They had no idea. Back on Earth, mourning wasn't televised. No candlelight vigils. No speeches. Only one thing changed. A single line added to the Orbital War Monument. New Dawn Orphanage, lost to cowardice. In secret, Operation Starfire was authorized. The architect of the operation, Admiral Lisa Durrell, known within intelligence circles as the Voice, issued only one command. No negotiations. No recoveries. No warnings. 7 days after the attack, every ship in Silencer Division transitioned from subspace at the edge of the Harkins Grave system. No hails. No declarations. They came in silence. Zeraki orbital defense stations registered the incursion. Fleets scrambled. Over 300 warships armed and moving. Standard doctrine assumed warning shots, formation dances, perhaps a show of force. The first Terran salvo was a relativistic kill vehicle accelerated to 0.97 C. It passed through 2 Zeraki dreadnoughts, turned their hulls into expanding clouds of atomic debris, and continued until it vaporized inside their primary fuel processing station. Then the real weapons engaged. Singularity mines, EMP lattices, starflare torpedoes, weaponry banned by interstellar convention, weaponry humanity had developed but never before used in war. Within 92 minutes, over 87% of the Zeraki military assets were either obliterated or rendered inoperable. Survivors received no quarter. Any escape vessel transmitting a military ID was targeted and removed. Civilian channels begged for mercy. No reply. Terran AI units ensured that civilian evacuation crafts with neutral signatures were ignored, but anyone marked by the Dominion flag, regardless of age or rank, was eliminated without fanfare. Orbiting satellites around Harkins' grave transmitted a final message. This is not vengeance. This is closure. Then the Silencer fleet activated the Soul Lance, a weapon built from black site theories on stellar destabilization. Never used. Never tested. Until now, the red star of Harkins' grave began to fracture, not explode, implode. Control collapsed via artificial gravitational manipulation. The Zeraki watched their skies dim. Then the heat came. Then silence. The Council's emergency session lasted 49 hours. No representative from Earth attended. Their seat remained empty, a folded Terran flag draped over the chair. In public forums, Earth issued no statement. No media reports were sanctioned, but the data sphere across the galaxy changed. Searches for Terran retaliation capacity surged by 4,000%. Recruitment to mercenary companies dropped across 6 sectors. Black market trading hubs quietly purged Terran genetic samples from their catalogs. Earth had said nothing, but it had spoken. The children were gone. So was the Dominion. And the galaxy, finally, understood that humanity's silence is not weakness. It is warning. They called it the Silence War, though no formal war was ever declared. After Harkins' grave was erased, the Zeraki Dominion became a void in the galactic map. Systems that once pledged loyalty now scrubbed their records. Fleets disbanded. Flags burned. Those who once spoke with pride about their military might now refuse to speak at all. The Dominion's legacy collapsed not with resistance, but with terrified compliance. And still, Earth remained silent. For the first time in centuries, humans sent no diplomats, no emissaries, only silence. And silence, as the galaxy learned, was far louder than threats. Across neutral sectors, Terran embassies began closing. Facilities evacuated overnight. Systems where Earth once offered humanitarian aid found their supply lines cut, not in malice, but with surgical detachment. No statements, no explanations, just absences. In the Creo Republic, panic turned to paranoia. They increased border patrols, restructured communications, and purged entire ministries of officials once linked to Dominion sympathizers. Yet Earth had issued no blame. The mere fear of implication was enough. The Galactic Council demanded a summit. Earth did not respond. They sent envoys to Luna. They received only auto-responses. The Terran seat remained empty. Whispers grew. Was Earth preparing something worse? Had Harkins' grave merely been a message, not a conclusion? One council member from the Zerathi Alliance proposed a preemptive embargo against Terran trade. The motion never passed. By then, Earth had already rerouted its commerce through silent proxies and autonomous trade guilds. Terran goods kept arriving. Terran credits flowed. But Earth itself became unreachable. Yet amid this cold withdrawal, one thing persisted: orphans. Across dozens of systems, Orphanages founded by humans still operated, not funded directly, but maintained through shadow accounts and automated systems. No new ones appeared, but none were abandoned. It was the only thread Earth refused to sever. On Station Varellin 6, one such orphanage discovered black case delivered by an unmarked drone. Inside, a hollow drive containing an archive of every child lost on Terralise 4. Biometric scans, voice samples, videos, and one directive written in Old Terran: never forget. The administrator wept, not from grief, but from terror. They knew what it meant. Earth was not seeking justice. Earth was ensuring memory. Then came the pattern shifts. Autonomous Terran scout probes began appearing in systems far beyond known borders. Silent, non-responsive, but unmistakably Terran. They mapped gravitational wells, quantum fluctuations, and energy field with disturbing precision. Entire civilizations watched helplessly as their skies filled with eyes that never blinked. The Sarnathi conglomerate attempted to capture one. Their defense platforms engaged with low-energy tethers. Within seconds, their orbital grid collapsed. No counterattack came. The probes simply vanished. But that night, all communication satellites in Sarnathi space broadcasted a repeating message on ancient Terran frequency bands. Do not touch what watches. Soon after, factions began disarming themselves. Not from treaties, not from pressure, but from sheer dread. No one wanted to provoke a second message. Some dismantled weapons. Others dismantled governments. In this vacuum, something unthinkable happened. Piracy disappeared. Smugglers rerouted around Terran sectors by light years. Mercenary fleets disbanded voluntarily. Warlords surrendered without conditions. All it took was a shadow of Earth silence. The galaxy didn't know fear. It knew nightmares wearing human restraint. Meanwhile, Earth began what internal systems call the audit. Every species with a diplomatic history was analyzed. Not just their alliances, but their betrayals. Not just declarations, but moments of hesitation, where neutrality was chosen over justice. Those who remained silent during the orphanage's fall were flagged. Not punished, not named, just noted. Earth reclassified them under the audit index, susceptible to moral collapse. Some tried to reconcile. They sent envoys, gifts, apologies. They were received by AI interfaces with no facial features and no voices. The AI processed the inputs and returned identical statements. You were watched. You were weighed. We remember. Then came the disappearances. Leaders, generals, industrial magnates. They vanished without trace, without pattern. Species-wide searches yielded no results. But across each case, one element emerged: a brief blackout of local surveillance grids, marked by a Terran encryption signature. No accusations followed. No denials issued. Just silence. A silence the galaxy now feared more than death. Within human space, things remained unchanged. Civilians went about their lives. Cities thrived. Culture blossomed. But the military sectors grew darker. No footage. No data leaks. No retirements. Those who entered remained. Those who left never spoke. Veterans stopped telling war stories. Not from shame, but from oath. Terran universities shut down their xenodiplomacy programs. Students were reassigned to structural engineering, quantum logistics, and biotechnological warfare theory. Scholars once focused on interspecies harmony now studied collapse modeling and mass psychology. A new doctrine began circulating internally, known as the ratio. 1 Terran child equals 1,000 enemy lives. Minimum. It was not official policy. It didn't need to be. In the Yervil Accord territories, citizens began wearing Terran sigils out of solidarity. The Accord government banned it. Riots followed, not for Earth, but against the fear of being left out. In a galaxy terrified of human wrath, many feared something worse: human disregard. Then came the archive leak. A data cascade flowed from an unknown source into the Galactic Council's central servers. It contained files, hundreds of thousands, detailing atrocities committed by dozens of factions over the last century, all with timestamps, witness statements, coordinates, proof. Earth said nothing, but every file carried one stamp. You ask what we remember. The Drenari Union collapsed within hours. Their hidden death camps, once protected by bribes and silence, were now public knowledge. Civil war erupted. The Council attempted to stabilize the situation. Earth remained absent. Their seat remained draped in the same folded flag. Some begged for Earth to return. Others plotted how to isolate it further. Neither group realized the truth. Earth had already moved on, not from grief, but from relevance. The galaxy had proven itself unworthy of Earth's faith. Now, humanity focused on itself. Deep in the Centauri expanse, human terraforming ships began work on a new cluster, unclaimed, uninhabited, and guarded by automated war nodes that vaporized any vessel within scanning range. It wasn't expansion. It was isolation. A galactic superpower turning inward, not to hide, but to heal and to remember. One Terran poet wrote, "We opened our hands to the stars, and they filled them with ash. So now we build again, not for them, but for those they took." The poem went viral, translated into 200 languages, not by Earth, but by those who fear being forgotten by it. In the shadow of human silence, new empires shrank. Former colonizers repented. Even criminals turned to penance. The galaxy learned to live more carefully, not from law, but from memory, because Earth never declared war. It simply remembered who did nothing. They called themselves the Restorers, a coalition formed from the wreckage of trust, drawn from species desperate to prove their change before Earth made them vanish. They weren't sanctioned by the Council. They didn't seek Earth's approval. They just acted, quietly, efficiently, terrified. They hunted war criminals, dug up lost graves, offered reparations to orphans, built monuments not to heroes, but to the victims they once ignored. For every child lost in the Terra lease from Massacre, they built a corresponding orphanage in another system. They knew Earth would never thank them. That wasn't the point. But Earth noticed, not with words or messages, but with absence. Systems where the Restorers operated were spared the haunting silence of Terran probes. Vessels passed unscanned. Satellites remained untouched. In the galaxy's new lexicon, this became known as the Passage Grace. It was never official. Earth never confirmed its existence. Yet entire civilizations shaped policy around avoiding the inverse. The reckoning silence. The Dominion remnant still lurked in scattered corners, believing Earth's fury had faded. It hadn't. It had only waited. In a dark nebula where Dominion ships regrouped, they disappeared in coordinated anomalies. No evidence of battle. No wreckage. No distress signals. Just vanished fleets. And then came a message, broadcast across hundreds of systems simultaneously. For each child unaccounted, one fleet erased. The final tally was never published, but Dominion banners were never seen again. Within Earth's expanding inner sanctum, construction began on a megastructure unlike anything previously attempted. A Dyson-style archive sphere, part digital repository, part cultural vault. Its purpose wasn't military. It was memorial. Each Terran child lost in external conflicts had a node. Every node pulsed with a child's name, DNA sequence, and last known image. Unhackable, immutable. One alien engineer granted access to the outer scaffold wept when he saw the scale. "Your vengeance is infinite," he whispered. The supervising AI corrected him. Not vengeance, consequence. Galactic religion began shifting. Where once deities were distant cosmic architects, now Earth's memory took center stage. Shrines emerged, blending xeno-architecture with Terran aesthetics. Not worship, but witness. The phrase, never forgotten, replaced diplomatic slogans. Star systems held annual silences on the anniversary of Terra lease. Orphanages became sacred spaces. Educators taught children what happened not as political history, but as moral compass. And still, Earth expanded, not outward, but inward. Research centers built under event horizon layers. AI chains trained solely on ethics under pressure. Simulations tested trillions of scenarios where aid might be needed, not to intervene, but to be ready if intervention was ever again necessary. Then came the Council's final appeal. The surviving member states, hollowed by fear and penance, requested Earth's return, not to lead but to guide. They proposed a new formation, the Witness Compact. It wouldn't govern. It would watch. A new seat was offered to Earth, not as a military force, but as the final memory, a civilization tasked with remembering the galaxy's worst failures, to prevent their recurrence. Earth did not respond immediately. Instead, a single data package was sent. It contained a children's book written in Terran standard, titled The Stars That Cried. It told the story of a child who looked up at the stars and asked why they never spoke back. In the story, the stars remained silent until the child was gone. Then they wept. At the end, the book closed with a line. It is not enough to cry after. The book was published in every council language, not by Earth, by the council itself. Within a cycle, the Witness Compact was ratified. Earth's role was sealed. But Earth had one final move. An encrypted signal spread across Terran-controlled space. Every probe, satellite, and monitoring node focused on one goal, locating surviving children from Terralise 4. Hundreds had perished, but not all. Scattered throughout slave markets, trafficking routes, and black site laboratories, a few remained. Hidden, used, broken. Within days, Earth found them all. And the galaxy learned something new. Earth's wrath at injustice was vast, but Earth's love for its own was deeper. Extraction teams moved with a precision that defied physics. Some arrived through phased jumps never before recorded. Others deployed from stealth vessels larger than cities, cloaked in dark matter veils. No resistance lasted more than seconds. No captor survived. No courts were needed. Children were not recovered. They were reclaimed. Everyone returned to Earth received full honors, not as victims, but as survivors. They were granted citizenship, homes, and identity beyond the pain. Entire programs were built around healing, not through forgetting, but through reclaiming the future. One child, barely 6, asked why Earth had come for them. The caretaker answered, "Because you are ours." That message spread, across species, across systems. You are ours. It didn't mean ownership. It meant obligation. The moral kind, the sacred kind. And Earth began exporting not weapons, but curriculum. Modules on empathy, crisis intervention, response ethics. Every planet that adopted the teachings saw a cultural bloom. Violence dropped. Aid increased. Compassion became policy. The galaxy didn't become perfect, but it became better. Because humans had taught at the cost of doing nothing, and the gift of doing something. Humanity didn't return as conquerors. They returned as mirrors, reminders, witnesses. Not every species accepted the mirror. Some broke under the guilt. Others rejected the reflection. But many endured and grew. And in time, they taught their young what the stars meant, not as destinations, but as responsibilities. They told the story of a world called Earth, of children taken, of a response that erased stars but restored meaning. And in their telling, they repeated one phrase, softly, reverently, never forgotten,